Welcome to the CastOFF. This is the show where 3 contestants compete by recasting your favorite actors in movies you love. That's right. I'm your host, Craig Price. Welcome to a special Utah Remote Con edition of the CastOFF. We are simulcasting both on Matinee Heroes YouTube page and Stolen Droids, in theory. Right now it looks like it's just on Stolen Droids, but we'll figure that out in the meantime. So this is a very special convention edition when we brought in some heavy hitters. That's correct. You know them, you love them. It's the entire cast of the wildly popular Movies That Make Us. Hey guys, how are you?
Hey.
How's it going?
It's like I said, we're doing great. I can see us live on Stolen Droids, but apparently I have sabotaged myself, which I always end up doing. But it's worth it because this is UtahCon and it's all on you guys. So, he is the president of Stolen Droids, and he is one of the nicest guys in podcasting. He has a 2-2 record here at CastOFF. He averages about 4 points a game, and he was on yesterday's, that's right, he was on yesterday's Morning Memory Wipe, which is a brand new podcast, visual podcast, I guess you call it, or streaming podcast, or live stream video show, whatever the hell this is, that is as well.
Sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jake Dietz.
How's it going? Happy to be here. That's a lot of talking me up. I don't know that I can live up to all that, but I'll try.
You probably can't.
But I'll try. I'll try my best.
He has a record of 4-3, which is quite a bit. The 7 games, he's averaging 4.28 points a game. He is the film student of the group, that is Tracy Mangum. Hey, Tracy. Is he muted?
I don't know. I think he is.
He muted himself.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Hi.
Yeah, we don't. You never mute yourself. We know who you are.
I'm back.
And with a record of 2-2, averaging 3.25 points a game, you can hear her every morning during the week at 98.7 and see her review films on Good Things Utah. The lovely and talented Valeria Cameron. Valerie, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Oh. The glitches have already started, so it's already great. A glitch happens every show. This time it is a pretty big one that I cannot fix. So we'll just move on. But it's good to see you.
Okay.
So we're going to start with Jake. Jake,
okay.
All right.
What are you looking most forward to at Utah Remote Con? And you cannot say everything because I know that you are in charge, but you have to. What specifically are you excited about?
I think the thing that I'm the most excited about, and this is going to be a cheap shot I'm going for, is the charity that we're raising money for. JDRF, charity that we're raising Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. As a parent of a type 1 diabetic, I really appreciate what JDRF does and the difference they make in the lives of families and individuals who have type 1 diabetes and their quest to find a cure, which I'm on board with 100%. So please buy raffle tickets, please donate if you can. That's the whole reason that we're doing all of this, besides just having fun. So I think that's the number one thing that I'm looking forward to. So I think that's
absolutely
the number one thing.
And that is exactly why we're here, to raise money. But Tracy, what are you excited about here at Remote Con?
Well, tonight's going to be a good night because first we're doing CastOFF, I love and enjoy. We're doing CastOFF, and then we're talking 8 movies. After this, and then we're talking 8 movies. I love getting together, seeing all these great people. I love getting together to see much due to the COVID, but it's going to be a good couple of weeks. Excited, but it's going to be a good couple of weeks.
And of course, we've got Val between being on the premiere of Monday Morning Memory Wipe, which I absolutely appreciate. You took a risk coming on. I really appreciate it. You're also, this week, we're going to record a special episode for next month's Matinee Heroes as we put a ring on it for June with Lord of the Rings. You're probably pretty sick of talking to me. So what are you looking forward to?
That really scares me, that CastOFF for Lord of the Rings. I don't want to do it, so I'm going to put it off for Lord of the Rings. I don't want to do it, so I'm going to put it off. I already had 2 really great panels last night. We talked about pop culture and mental health, and it was such a great panel. So you should go back and check it out on our Facebook page or YouTube if you can. And then we talked about Mortal Kombat, which was great. And for some reason, they're letting me moderate the Falcon Winter Soldier panel after they know that I just annihilate people that say that they don't like specific things about the show. So I'm super excited about doing that coming up. Super excited.
All the nitpickers beware. If you're going to nitpick the show, keep your mouth shut, is what I hear Valerie saying. No nitpickers.
She's now a Mortal Kombat fan, so she's now a Mortal Kombat fan, so she is gonna.
Well, hopefully we have a lot of new people watching the show since we're on the Stolen Droids Network for the first time. So I will go over some rules. Now, this is a fairly simple competition. I'm going to name a character, and you are going to name an actor to replace the character, the actor that's playing the character. The best choice gets a point. I will have my secret selection, so if you pick something that I have, you get a point. Now, often the best choice and Craig's secret selection are the same, but not always. So don't feel like you've got a guaranteed 2 points if the best choice pops up. Obviously, the person with the most points wins, and if there's a tie, we'll go to a double feature to win, and that is when I ask them for a double feature on the spot, and then I will pick. Instead of having a jury of judges, I will pick the double feature. They'll have to tell me why. But we are really here because tonight is a special simulcast with Utah Remote Con, and we're raising money for the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. So please go to givebutter.com/Utah Remote Con 2. It's a great charity. I'm not sure if butter is good for diabetics, but check with your doctor. I'm sure you can have it in moderation. Go ahead.
It's no less healthy for a type 1 diabetic than it is for anybody else. You got to take insulin for anything you eat, but you can eat anything you want.
Okay, I just know that I have a dog that needs insulin. Yeah. I can't give him butter. As always, this show is brought to you by Matinee Heroes. The current episode out is Jake and I talking Top Gun as part of our Epic 80s month, and this upcoming Saturday is no less epic with Lethal Weapon. We have Season 3 cast-off winners Elizabeth Rapp and Rob Irvin, who was not only a winner this year, but also Season 2 champ. And actually, they spent a lot more time talking Lethal Weapon 2, but since that movie also came out in the 80s, it's okay. It may be some time before they're back on, but we love them anyways. Subscribe to the podcast at matineeheroes.com/subscribe. And tonight, stay right here after the game is over and join us for an extended or abbreviated post-game show, depending on time, but there will be a post-show. You can always go to matineeheroes.com/castoff and subscribe to the video feed there. We really appreciate it. And are you guys ready to break into a casino and steal some things?
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right.
Let's do it.
Absolutely.
Every Tuesday. Well, the coin has been flipped. A 3-sided coin was flipped. And Jake, you are going to go first. Let's get the crew together and rob casinos with Ocean's 11 tonight. It's going to be more like Ocean's 7 because we're not going to recast all 11 people. In fact, we're not even going to recast 7 of the people. We've got a couple people in the crew and a couple other people. So we'll start with a guy who turned 60 last week, George Clooney, as the aforementioned and well-named Danny Ocean. Now, Danny Ocean is a gentleman thief from New York City who is the ringleader and ID man for the crew. So, Jake, we'll start with you. Who do you have replacing the irreplaceable and overly handsome George Clooney?
Yeah, in a group of thieves, in a scam artists or whatever you want to call these guys, or scam artists or whatever, you've got to have a pretty big ego to be the guy. You've got to have runs the show and comes up with the ideas, and everybody gets behind the show. And so I went with an actor who's famous for having a big ego. So I went with an actor in the characters he plays for having a big ego, and I went with Robert Downey Jr.
Yes, you did. Known for small independent flicks like Iron Man and Sherlock Holmes and Tropic Thunder, Avengers Endgame. But yes, you need somebody who's quippy and charming and handsome and all of that. And sure, Robert Downey's probably just about perfect. Wouldn't you agree, Tracy?
Absolutely.
And who did you pick?
Absolutely. I needed somebody who was suave, somebody who handle being the head of a big ensemble cast. Handle being the head. I also went with Robert Downey Jr. Jake, get under my brain.
So he's known for big blockbuster tentpoles like The Judge, Due Date, The Soloist, and Charlie Bartlett. Val, please tell me that you did not pick Robert Downey Jr. because you're smarter than that.
I did not pick Robert Downey Jr. I was looking for someone that could also run a big crew, that had the swagger, that could be like a buddy guy, that could be like a buddy guy. But you also just love to see kind of be himself. But you also just love to see kind of be
going Big Willie style. Absolutely. He's known for being Jada Pinkett's spouse.
Sometimes.
Yep. On occasion, if there's not entanglements. Men in Black, Bad Boys, Ali, Independence Day. But you specifically said you liked the way he acted and looked and was in focus with Margot Robbie.
Yeah, I think with him from Bad Boys and Focus. Yeah, I think with him from Bad Boys those two movies Focus, put together, that character is totally right for that character for what we need here for this movie. Right for what we need here for this movie.
Well, Jake picked Robert Downey Jr. Tracy also picked Robert Downey Jr. Val went with Will Smith, and the judges conferred, and well, unfortunately, it's just Robert Downey Jr. So, what are you going to do? He's got more opportunities to get more votes. What are you going to do? All right. So next we'll move on to, he is the always eating right-hand man, Rusty Ryan, played by, in this picture, apparently a Guy Pearce impersonation done by Brad Pitt. So we'll start with Tracy. Tracy, who do you have playing Rusty?
So the Robert Downey Jr. pick was kind of my only current pick. I wanted to go kind of a throwback. These are movies that were originally made in the 70s that were remade for the modern era. So I kind of wanted to do a throwback. I needed somebody who was charismatic, somebody who could do subtle humor, somebody who was charming as all get out. I went with a young Robert Redford.
Absolutely. Now, wait till you see this picture, because that is sexy right there.
Oh.
Yeah, listen to Val. Oh, yeah. And he only lives up the road from you guys, so.
Right.
But no, he was a hunk of man meat back in the day. Not that he's unattractive now. He's just 105 years old. He's being the leading man of his era. You know, he was in the Avengers movies. Just so apparently, Tracy and Jake are on the same lazy road to Avengers movies. But then he starred in a bunch of the movies, like The Sting, The Great Gatsby, The Natural, and he starred with Brad Pitt in Spy Game. So I could see exactly why you picked him. Val, who do you got?
I did not go with Robert Redford or Robert Downey Jr. I also was looking for someone that kind of had that, you know, I'm going to be the buddy of the main guy, but I can hold my own. I can eat a sandwich and look super cool. And he's just dry humor that's really great. And you just want to keep looking at him, and that's Anthony Mackie.
Absolutely. The new Captain America. Yes. Now, here's a bunch of movies that were great that I had no idea he was in. He was in 8 Mile.
Yeah.
He was in $1 Million Baby. He was in The Hurt Locker. And of course, I think we all remember him in Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
My favorite role of his. Yeah. Absolutely.
Of course. Why he wasn't nominated, it was the biggest theft in the history of the Oscars. So now we'll go with Jake. You've got a tough one. You got a very young Robert Redford and a currently young Anthony Mackie. So who did you pick?
Yeah, I think I'm going to try to buck the trend here and not go with an Avengers actor, because we haven't done that yet. So I went with somebody that I thought would be very charismatic and have great chemistry with Robert Downey Jr. We've never seen these two on screen together ever before, but I think they'd really go well together. He's also got a great dry sense of humor. I went with Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
And everything I said before that was a lie.
Except Will Smith was not in the Avengers. So
no,
that's true. Okay, I take it back.
Okay.
Take it back.
Of course,
take back what you said about Thor.
He's the most famous Hemsworth, as we have the lesser Hemsworth, Liam and Luke. You know they're lesser because their names start with an L. So we have him in, obviously, Thor, Bad Times at the El Royale. I loved him in Cabin in the Woods. And yeah, he did show his sense of humor in Ghostbusters Answer the Call, which I just found out, having recorded Ghostbusters for the end of the month Epic 80s podcast, that's the one the lady Ghostbusters was renamed to Ghostbusters Answer the Call. That's stupid. Just call it Ghostbusters. And of course, Men in Black International, where he teamed up with Valkyrie. The great Tess, I can't remember her name right now. It's Tess. She's great. So we've got Robert Redford, Anthony Mackie, Chris Hemsworth, and the judges went with Robert Redford. So Tracy has finally taken the lead. There was no lead to the first one. I didn't even want to tell everybody you got points. It's so sad that you guys got it. So Tracy has the lead 2-1. Well, now we get to Ruben Tishkoff, the money behind the heist, played by 70s sex symbol, I kid you not, 70s sex symbol, Elliot Gould. I'm not lying or being facetious. He was literally one of the sexiest men in the 1970s. That shows you how weird things were going on back then. So we are going to start with Val. Val, who do you have playing the financier? You have a financier now.
I'm going with somebody that I know has that exact same outfit that Elliot Gould is wearing in that picture, including the glasses. He has, you know, the fun that he can carry his own against this entire cast, and I just want to see him finance somebody and take somebody down. And yeah, I'm going to go with Samuel L. Jackson. We all have seen him in those glasses. We've seen him in that jacket. We've got him with a cigar. It's totally him, man.
Yep, known for being a bad mother. Shut your mouth. Yes, Shaft. He was in Shaft, the remake, but of course we know him as Nick Fury in all the Avengers movies. Jake's favorite expression, hold on to your butts, with just Jurassic Park, Pulp Fiction, the Star Wars prequels, Kong, Skull Island. All of those movies you can go back to our archives at Matinee Heroes and listen to, as we've covered almost all of them. Yes, the great and prolific Samuel L. Jackson. So now we go back to Jake.
So I was going for a theme on my casting, and with the theme that I was going for, I cast this kind of Randy Redacted style, based just on the looks and just the glasses alone, and someone that was in the movies that I was casting from, and I went with Stan Lee.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Known for being the man. Yeah, we know him from his Marvel movie cameos. He was in Teen Titans Go to the movies, the animated episodes of Fresh Off the Boat, and of course, Kevin Smith had put him in Yoga Hosers and Mallrats. So, quite a amazing and storied film career that Stan Lee has. Good God! Thanks for playing, Jake.
Yep.
I'm glad you took it seriously.
Happy to be here. I'll show myself out.
So Tracy, save us. Who do you have? Who do you have playing Stan Lee's Ruben Tishkoff?
Well, I wanted somebody who would give some of the gravitas, somebody who kind of the casino feel. I went with James Gandolfini.
Now see, Jake, this is how you put thought into something. This is fantastic. The late, great James Gandolfini, he's known as a sweet, tough guy. In real life, he's a sweet guy. In the movies, he's a tough guy. We saw him in Sopranos. We saw him get thrown down a set of stairs and get shorty. He was in Crimson Tide and Zero Dark 30, and one of my favorite movies because it was based on In the Thick of It, In the Loop, with Peter Capaldi. So there you go. We've got Samuel L. Jackson, Stan Lee, which I can tell you now, did not get a vote. And
That's all right.
James Gandolfini. So we've got 2 out of 3 really good answers.
Thanks.
But we went with James Gandolfini. So Tracy takes the lead 3-1. Hey, I'm sorry, Jake. When you have a good one, I tell you.
I know. It's all good.
Oh, that was just tough. Well, now we get to the worst Cockney accent since Dick Van Dyke with Don Cheadle's Bashar Tarr, the munitions expert. And Jake, redeem yourself. Who do you have playing the munitions expert by Don Cheadle?
So the easy pick with what I was going for with my theme would have been Terrence Howard here. But I decided instead to go with, I think, one of the best actors in the MCU, one of the best actors we've seen in this generation, and I went with Chadwick Boseman.
It's hard to argue with that one. See, you did redeem yourself. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
Now, he's done a lot of famous African-American biopics, like biopics. 42, Marshall, not that Black Panther was a biopic, but it was the story of someone. He was great in his last 2 movies back-to-back, To Five Bloods and Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. He was phenomenal in. One of the saddest stories that come out of 2020. Way too soon. He went way too soon, and he will be sorely missed. Tracy, beat that.
That's a tough one. That's a good, solid pick. Basher to me is somebody who is really funny. He's got kind of this chaotic energy to him. In continuing with kind of my throwback to the 70s, I went with Richard Pryor.
Richard Pryor, absolutely. Known for groundbreaking comedy. The man is a genius, a certified genius. He was in Car Wash with Gene Wilder and Stir Crazy and Silver Streak. One of my favorite musicals, and I hate musicals, but one of my favorite musicals as a kid, The Wiz, and nobody will forget his phenomenal scheme to take pennies off the dollar in Superman 3, which then was stolen in Office Space.
You forgot Brewster's Millions.
Well, I put 5 in there, man. There's plenty in there.
You had to make room for Superman 3.
I didn't put the Cotton Club in there either. He was great with Red Fox. Richard Pryor also wrote Blazing Saddles, so that ought to tell you exactly the kind of guy he was. He was fantastic. But now we're going to go to Valerie. Valerie, who do you have? You got Richard Pryor. You got Chadwick Boseman. Who do you have?
I went with Donald Glover, and I think he could hold his own against either of those people. I love both of those actors a lot, but I think Donald Glover has a really wide range of characters that he can play, and I feel like he would blow this one out of the water.
Absolutely. That's the thing. He's known for being too talented, because not only was he a phenomenal performer as he was on Community, and he practically was channeling a living Billy D. Williams. That's difficult. If they're dead, it's a lot easier. They have no body, so there's no place to keep their corporeal form. But it's just amazing that what he did in Solo: A Star Wars Story. He had a pretty good low-key cameo in Spider-Man: Homecoming. But I think that's a great pick. So we have Chadwick Boseman, Richard Pryor, Donald Glover, and our judges went with Donald Glover. Absolutely. Val on the board. She's got on the board. So
I was about to cry myself to sleep on my wee pillow.
Now, I'm not sure if that's a pillow that's small or a pillow you use to pee on.
It's small because my head is giant. I have a giant head.
Well, that means you're going to be a great actor someday, because almost every actor I've ever met that's really good has a massive, literally big-sized head.
I've auditioned for Batman every time, and I've never my head fits in it, but I never get it.
Well, Tracy in the lead with 3 points. Jake's got 1, and Val just got 1, so she's caught up to Jake. Let's keep going on. It's getting close. It's getting tighter and tighter. So now we move on to the old pro who is the distraction, Saul Bloom, played by the late, great comedic genius Carl Reiner. And we'll start with Tracy. Tracy, since your last pick was a comedic genius in Richard Pryor, who are you going to replace the great Carl Reiner with?
This was probably the hardest one that I had to recast. He's got to be really smart and intelligent. He's got to be seasoned. He's got to be able to do accents to distract people. I went with a really funny comedian, Harvey Korman.
Absolutely. He's known for laughing at Tim Conway. You think Jimmy Fallon and Peter Davidson are known for breaking up skits? No one could break up a skit like Harvey Korman, and it was amazing on the Carol Burnett Show. Also in Blazing Salads. That'd be great. Hey, can I have some of that Blazing Salad? Hold the dressing. Blazing Saddles, History of the World Part 1 with Mel Brooks. He was the president in Jingle All the Way. I did not know that. And no one will ever forget the 3 to 5 characters he played in the Star Wars Christmas special. Oh, I'm tearing up just thinking about it. Val, who do you have?
I went with Louis Gossett Jr.
Ooh. There you go. Now, I didn't think you were going to go right away into it.
Sorry.
That's okay. I was like, I was going to put her up there and put your pretty face on the screen. But I went right with Lou Gossett Jr., known for playing military men in things like An Officer and a Gentleman and Iron Eagle. But he was also in The Deep and Jaws 3D, the one where they had to close down SeaWorld to film. And that was the year my family went down to SeaWorld. And we did not get to see anything because they shut it down. I know. I blame Dennis Quaid for that, not Lou Gossett Jr. And he was recently in The Great Watchmen. He was wonderful in that. And I can see exactly why you picked him, because he was phenomenal in The Watchmen. Jake.
Yes, Craig.
Well, by now a pattern has formed, and you can kind of see what happens when I say your name.
Oh, okay, yeah. So again, casting from the Avengers, I wanted someone who's seen some stuff, who is seasoned, but could also play that unassuming old man as part of the distraction, so people wouldn't suspect him as being part of this heist that's going on. So I went with an older Chris Evans. Like end-game old. End of the end-game old.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean... Now, Chris Evans is known for playing older than he is. He's 70 years old in every Captain America movie except the first one.
Right.
He was in the Fantastic Four movies. He's good in a team, because he was in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as the TMNT. I'm sorry, because not the full name, the abbreviated version, where he played Casey Jones. And then he played a couple douchebags in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World and Knives Out. But he's a very good actor, and I think he's what we call a bro in real life. So he's probably a sweetheart, but he's kind of a bro.
He is a bro.
So Saul Bloom, played by the great Harvey Korman. By the late, he's still alive, the late great Harvey Korman, the currently living great Louis Gossett Jr., and the forever young Chris Evans. Well, the judges conferred and said, well, Chris Evans is not going to make it because he's in makeup. Sure. That's a gimmick. And so they went with Harvey Korman. He's fantastic. He would really be good at this because he's exactly what you're looking for, someone with a lot of comedic timing. So Tracy goes up 4-1, and with 4 points left on the board, it's getting down to the wire. So now we get to the slick casino owner and a victim of the entire heist, Terry Benedict, played by last week's pick for Cassian Andor of Rogue One, Andy Garcia. So Val, who do you have playing the handsome but constantly upset Andy Garcia?
Well, you have to have someone that can go head to head with your star, which in my case is Will Smith. And, somebody that's equally as suave, that thinks he's one step ahead, that can look cool and controlled, even though there's a lot of stuff going on, and that, the love interest, the female character, is going to think is just as good looking. So I'm going to go with Idris Elba.
Oh, absolutely. Ooh. Idris Elba. Ooh. Black Superman, yes, as he was called. He called himself in Hobbs and Shaw. He was in the Avengers movies as Heimdall. He was in Star Trek Beyond. He's going to be in the new Suicide Squad movie. It's coming out in August. But he's not perfect, as we know, and saw him in Cats. So if you really, really want to think about what Idris Elba might look au naturel, watch Cats, because it seems like he's naked in the whole movie.
It really does.
Yep. I know several women who want to release the butthole cut of that particular issue.
What?
Because it's Idris Elba half naked.
Okay.
So I didn't say you, Val, but yeah. So now Jake, whose kids have scrambled from the room now that I've said the word butthole.
They're gone.
They're gone. Yes. Who do you have playing Terry Benedict?
Okay. So this was actually one of my good picks. I went with who I think is very suave, who I think is very slick and can play a villain so well. I went with Tom Hiddleston.
Now, there you go. See, whenever you make a stupid pick, you come back with a brilliant pick. And Tom Hiddleston is brilliant. That is, because he's playing mischievous supervillains, and that's kind of what we're looking for here. He's in all the Avengers movies as Loki. He's going to be in Loki that's coming out in June. He was in War Horse for no particular reason. Kong Skull Island, he did a great job. And Muppets Most Wanted. I just want to throw in that he's in there for the Muppets. Now we get to Tracy. Wrap this up in a bun. You have a chance to really put the hammer down on these folks.
Those are two really good picks, and I almost went with Tom Hiddleston. So Jake, again, we're sharing a brain here. I wanted to go with somebody who would give some real menace to the role, somebody who you believe would be kind of a cutthroat casino owner. When you're talking about movies about casinos, you've got to have somewhere in there a young Robert De Niro.
And I went with a real young, so hopefully this picture is what you're looking for. I went with a really young and handsome Robert De Niro, because all the other pictures of him as young are like, he's Godfather Part 2, where he's got a weird mustache and he's in the 1920s or 30s, or he's in Taxi Driver with a buzz cut, or he's in Raging Bull where he's a big fat guy. So I wanted to find, hopefully this is what you were looking for.
That'll work.
And known for intense acting, I'm pretty sure he would be really good at getting mad at everybody. So we have Idris Elba, Tom Hiddleston, Robert De Niro. This one was a tough one. This was a great category. Every pick was great. But Tracy, you wrapped it up, and you are today's winner with Robert De Niro.
Wow.
Good job, Tracy.
But mathematically, I'm so you have the final thought, Tracy. The floor is yours.
Well, I want to say that was a fun game. Val, Jake, you guys are fantastic. It was hard going up against you because you're like siblings to me. I'm excited to be here. We're raising money for the Juvenile Diabetes Foundation. We've got amazing raffle prizes. So please donate. Goes to a fantastic cause. And check us out. We'll be here for the next 2 weeks.
Absolutely. And speaking of 2 weeks, a week from today, we will have a rematch because we just cannot get enough on the cast-off of Movies That Make Us. That's right. Movies That Make Us comes back for a second round. They just can't take enough punishment. Tracy will face his revenge of Jake and Val. Only this time we're going in a different direction. It's Ladies' Night with Ocean's 8.
Oh,
that's exactly why I did it, Val. That reaction. Oh.
Gross.
I actually watched this like 2 weeks ago. Okay.
I'm sorry. If you want to be on the show, we are taking contestant applications. Head over to matineeheroes.com/cast-off/application, and you can fill one out, and you could be on the show. Also, you can email me at mhcastoff@gmail.com. Look for video links at matineeheroes.castoff, or you can subscribe at twitch.tv/matineeheroes. I want to give special thanks to additional judges, Brendan Agnew, who judges every episode. Last week's winner, Elizabeth Rapp. And because we had 3 categories where everybody got a vote, I had to bring in 2 more people to cast votes because this was a little bit of a runaway by Tracy, but it certainly wasn't voting-wise. It was very tough and very close. So we brought in Season 2 champion Rob Irvin, and of course, he won 2 weeks ago, the great Kerry Gordon. Now, remember, everything we're doing here is to raise money for the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. So please head over to givebutter.com/UtahRemoteCon2 and donate. You can donate as little as $1, or you can give us several $1,000s. We'll take any donation. Isn't that right, Jake?
That's correct.
Any donation. But instead of, normally we'd have a post-game show, but since we've got plenty of time, we are going to go to the post-game show right now. So please join us. What we normally do, if I can find everybody, here we go. I will push us live. Now, normally what we do is we talk about the picks that were had and things that went through and why you thought the way you did. And so the problem is we still have one person left. So we're going to, Tracy, you have one, but we are still going to recast our last person, and that is going to be the lovely Julia Roberts as Tess Ocean, Danny's ex-wife, played by Julia Roberts. So, Jake, you had the floor. Who do you have as Tess Ocean?
Yeah, again, going with my Avengers theme, I think for me the obvious choice was Scarlett Johansson. So that's who I went with.
Oh, you know what? I didn't. You went with Scarlett Johansson. Okay. And
what did I say?
No. It's fine. I didn't make slides for them because I knew that we didn't get this far. Tracy,
I was waiting for my slide.
No, you're not getting a slide. Right, nobody's getting a slide this last section. So, Tracy, who did you pick?
I went with old school Hollywood royalty. I wanted somebody when she comes down the stairs and it's the best part of the day. I went with Audrey Hepburn.
Ooh, the lovely and talented. You went old school. She's great.
Yep.
And so, Val, who did you pick?
I went with someone that I think could hold her own against the whole cast of people that I put together, and also looks amazing and is probably smarter than the entire cast, and that is Rosario Dawson.
Absolutely.
Ooh.
And
Ooh.
Oh yeah, and our judges decided that it would have been Audrey Hepburn, so Tracy did kind of blow this one out. But
Wow.
I find this ridiculous because I will tell you right now, except for I did choose Robert Redford. But except for that, Val, I picked every single one of yours.
Wow.
So I was overruled by all of the other people because I think that the people you picked were fantastic. So we'll start with Tracy since he won. Tracy, I'm going to leave these up here so you can see. Of all of the other picks, which do you like of Jake's the most? Which one did you like? I'm being positive here. I could say which one do you think sucked, and we'd have to bash Stan Lee, but we're not going to do that.
I would go with Tom Hiddleston. I think he's got the suave. He can do menacing, but he's still likable. I almost picked Tom, so that's the one I'm going to go with from Jake.
Val, what was your favorite pick by Jake?
I almost went with Chadwick Boseman instead of Donald Glover. Like, I was looking at both of those people for that character. And I just, I went with Donald Glover last minute because I do think that he would play the character just a little bit better. And it's like your guys' fault because you made me watch Community. I already liked Donald Glover before, but I think watching Community hit it out of the park for me, thinking that he could play this role. I mean, I pictured him in the outfit. I'm pretty sure he already has like a beanie and the scarf and everything that Don Cheadle's character already has. So it was really close between him and Chadwick Boseman.
And he's actually very funny because not only does he do stand-up, he wrote for 30 Rock. He wrote on Community a little bit, and then he writes Atlanta.
Right.
So Jake,
yes.
You just heard Tracy and Val say wonderful things about you.
Yes.
Which one? When did you realize that Tracy was going to win this one? Which pick did you went? Oh crap.
Probably James Gandolfini. I think that's where it became apparent to me that he was just driving with the judges, I think. I did not expect to win. I just want everybody to understand. I was having fun.
If I would have lost to you, I would have been pissed.
Yeah, I would be.
I'm not pissed losing to Tracy, but if I would have lost to your picks tonight, I would have been angry.
Yeah, I wanted to have some fun on this particular show because of
no fun will be had.
No, I'm sorry. Next time I'll be serious as we recast Ocean's 8.
So next week you're going to come in hard at Catherine Blanchett's character, Kate Blanchett's character. I can see.
Yep,
he's going to recast with the Harry Potter cast.
And
no, I'm not going to do another thing.
No. I think it's going to be the Golden Girls.
Yes.
No, I think that's where I felt like Tracy was probably going to run away with it, just because I liked what Val was doing, and I agree, Craig. I liked Val's picks were really, really good.
Yeah.
I just felt like Tracy was driving a little bit more with the judges. So
when I started seeing the judges return their votes back, and it was not a lot of Val, I was confused. Not that Tracy's picks were bad. Not that anybody's picks were bad except Stan Lee. They were all pretty good. It's just that I was shocked, especially with I thought Will Smith would be.
Will Smith is great,
but
yeah.
So which one of the Vals did you like the most, Jake?
I think it was Will Smith that I liked the most. That Danny Ocean character just fits so well with what we've seen from Will Smith on screen. I just think that would have. I'd pay to see that movie. I'd pay a lot to see that movie. So.
And Val, when did you think it was going off the rails with Tracy? Yeah,
I mean, I knew that my picks were going to be a gamble. I knew they would either be like a home run or they wouldn't get any votes. And so when I saw them both vote for Robert Downey Jr., I'm like, okay, either it's going to be great that I'm doing something totally different or it's not. And then they both got the vote. So I was like, okay, well, let's just go to the next one. And then Robert Redford was a great pick. I love Robert Redford in anything. But yeah, James Gandolfini for me was, okay, I'm not even in the same ballpark as what these judges are thinking. And that's what's great about the show is that every week. I mean, we could play this show every week with the same answers, but you have different judges, so we get different picks. And that's what's so great, is because you just can't predict it. And so that's why it's so fun. And it was really hard. I didn't want to recast this movie because I did think it was great. So I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to go totally different. And I'm surprised a movie like Mine the Way I Cast It hasn't been made yet.
This would be perfect. If nobody's watching the show who's not a casting, this is how I should make my money, is by pitching all of these great ideas that you guys come up with to executives, because I would pay good money to see a more diverse cast, number one, but also to see Will Smith lead this crew. Holy crap!
Yeah.
That's box office gold.
Movie.
What did you like about Jake's? Which one did you like about Jake's?
Jake's, I really like Tom Hiddleston as well. I think that him as Terry Benedict would be a different Terry Benedict. I do think he would be, like Andy Garcia plays it a little cold. You know what I mean? He's he plays it well, but it's very cold. It's very not a lot of feeling. And I think what's great about Tom Hiddleston is he can play that I'm going to keep it all inside, but you can see in his face that he's thinking about all the things he's going to do to someone. And so I think seeing Tom in this role kind of changes the dynamic of this character in a great way.
Well, now we'll move on to what would have happened had this been a tie. And quite frankly, it's more likely to be a tie when it's 3-0, because all it takes is someone to get the best choice and Craig's secret pick, which nobody got my secret pick, so I didn't even mention them. So we'll start with Jake and work our way around. All I want you to do is tell me what your double feature with. So for those who don't know, had this been a tie, I asked them what their double feature is. Then once I hear all the titles, I go back and let them explain, because I don't want, sometimes if we just go, oh, that'd be perfect by the title, but there's actually a really valid explanation that actually makes it more of a case. So Jake, Ocean's 11 and
The Italian Job.
Tracy.
The Score.
Valerie.
The Italian Job.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, Val. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Like your best pick of the night, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
The best pick of the night.
I'm finally bringing the heat.
Well, there's two versions of this.
That's right.
There's two versions.
And either of them would be great, honestly.
You got to go with the Mini Cooper version, because that's the only one anyone really remembers.
Yeah.
So Jake, why The Italian Job? I mean, I kind of know why, but why?
Yeah, I mean, it's just got the same feel, right? It's still a heist movie. It's kind of the same kind of action, same kind of comedy in there. And of course, the Mini Cooper scene is fantastic. So, yeah.
Tracy, The Score.
The Score, I love it. It's directed by Frank Oz. It's got Robert De Niro. It's a really, really smart, intelligent heist film. It's one of my favorite heist films. I think it'd be fun to do. A little bit smaller cast, but still kind of in the same vein.
Valerie.
I chose The Italian Job because it's a great heist movie that doesn't take itself too seriously. Like, it has serious moments, but just like Ocean's 11, those serious moments are still just really fun. Like, it's a lot of fun to watch. It's got buddy characters, it's got swarthy guys, it's got hot ladies, and it's got fast guys. It has fast cars. That's everything I want in a movie.
It's got swarthy guys. You're looking for, is that a genre? I know 8 movies apparently is a genre. So is swarthy guys is a genre now?
I mean, we could try it out. We could see.
Swarthy guy movies.
I'm afraid to go down that road, because it could lead into some really bad days. But you know what? We still got about 10, 15 minutes left. So I'm going with The Italian Job, which eliminates Tracy. So now we go into a sudden death overtime. Because I don't know if you guys planned for 2.
No.
So we can be on our
right off the top of your head. Jake. Actually, you know what? I'm going to flip a coin.
Triple feature.
Yes, it's going to be a triple feature. I don't have a coin with me because it's the 1980s. We haven't had. All right. So this is artwork that I love. This is my spirit animal. This is a sloth eating a pizza. That's heads. Jake, call it.
Heads. Yeah.
It's tails. All right.
All right, Val.
So Valerie, we're a triple feature of Ocean's 11, The Italian Job, and
I'm trying to find.
She's Googling as quickly.
The Big Hit. The Big Hit, also with Mark Wahlberg.
Okay, The Big Hit. Okay, hold on. Now, Jake, you cannot pick The Big Hit.
Okay, well, that's good. I wasn't going to. Sneakers.
All right, Valley. Now you can explain why the big hit.
Okay, so The Big Hit is another Mark Wahlberg movie. It's a little bit older, 1998, but it's a little bit of a different kind of heist robbery movie that also doesn't take itself too seriously. It's a lot of fun, but it has one of the best action sequences in an action movie that goes along with The Italian Job when he comes through the window with the guns and the light comes through the window. It's just fantastic. But again, another movie with like hot women, swarthy guys, action-packed, super fun, great action shots.
Is your ex-boyfriend a swarthy guy?
My ex-boyfriend?
You're the one you're going to marry soon. He's no longer.
I personally don't go for swarthy guys, but I think that's their fun. They have
it.
their purpose. They have their purpose on the big screen.
It sounds like you're willing to slap down $12 to watch swarthy guys run around.
I'll watch them all day long because they fit, but they're not really my type to marry.
Okay. Well, good. I'm glad to know that David's not swarthy. All right. Jake, explain yourself.
Sneakers is another great kind of heist movie. I loved watching that movie growing up. You've got, Robert Redford in it. You've got Ben Kingsley. Sorry, trying to remember all the names. River Phoenix. You've got Dan Aykroyd. I mean, it's just a great ensemble cast. It's got some great pacing. It's a lot of fun. And now it's fun to go back and watch because of the technology that they're stealing and that they're involved in and how old that technology looks, but how cutting edge it was. And honestly, the scene where Mother is driving the van through the parking lot is one of my favorite scenes in any movie ever. So Sneakers, it'd be fun.
Well, I'm going to have to go with Matinee Heroes episode Sneakers because I do also love that movie. And it's The Big Hit. I'm sure it's wonderful.
It's a dark horse.
I'm sure it's a good movie. But Sneakers is, I can guarantee you, if you have not seen it, you're going to have a good time. Especially, like you said, now that you see all the weird stuff that's going on, it's like, wait a minute, this is what technology was like in 1992. This is crazy.
Yep.
Nice.
Well, the podcast is Movies That Make Us, so please subscribe and listen. You can head over to stolendroids.com and subscribe to Movies That Make Us. They've got a YouTube channel. You can watch them live stream their episodes. You guys are wonderful, so thank you so much for being on the show. We'll see you in a week. You can also go to Matinee Heroes and subscribe. You don't have to listen, but download it every week at least. So, I know that's a lot of stuff we're asking you to do. You can delete it if you want, but please subscribe and then download it. So, on behalf of Jake Dietz, Tracy Mangum, Valeria Cameron, I am Craig Price, and we will see you next week on The CastOFF.